G'day guys, this is Tier and welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Today we are going to be talking about another recent change in the PTS. This is both amazing and terrifying for a few different reasons, and it is a change I can see will be very controversial for a time. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys that the explosive legendary effect on weapons has been fixed so that it no longer deals its explosive damage at an enemy's feet or at the bottom of their hitbox. Instead, it will now deal that explosive damage properly against the enemy's hitbox directly in the center, no matter where you actually shot the enemy. It doesn't matter if you shot them in the head, in the wing if it's a flying enemy, or at their left leg, their arm, their chest, the explosive damage will be dealt properly on the enemy's hitbox. So let's get into the video without further ado. Now obviously this is great and is a great fix for explosive weapons in general. If you've seen my previous video on this topic where I broke down the myth about the Queen being immune to explosive damage, you'd know that this is a myth and it is not true, and the problem was just simply that the explosive effect worked in a wonky weird way when facing off against larger enemies and larger hitboxes. Well, like I said at the start of this video, this isn't the case anymore. Now, the explosive legendary effect deals its damage exactly where the projectile landed. So now you no longer have to aim at the ground beneath the Scorchbeast Queen to deal explosive damage. You no longer have to aim at the feet of super mutants or Wendigo Colossi or any other tall creatures like Mylok Queens. This glitch in the system has been corrected and now you can aim wherever you want and deal that amazing explosive damage 100% of the time, guaranteed. Even if the Queen or any other Scorchbeasts are flying in the air, you will still deal that explosive damage if your bullet actually hits them. It's amazing. Now, as amazing as this may be, the reason I said this is going to be controversial for a time is because while this is a direct buff and an amazing update for regular explosive weapons like Fat Men, grenade launchers, and even regular explosive weapons like fixers, miniguns, and any other normal ballistic weapons that have the explosive legendary effect, while this is a great change for those weapons, unfortunately, like the title suggests, this does also buff legacy weapons in the game. So now legacy explosive Gatling plasmas, legacy explosive laser rifles, and any hacked weapons on PC that also utilize the legacy formula will be absolutely ripping the Queen and Earl Williams to shreds even more swiftly than they ever have before. As I'll show right now, I'll do a comparison between live game and the PTS to show you guys how significant the difference is with this fix in play. First up, let's test the explosive legacies against the Queen in the live game. Alright, so here we are guys, we are shooting at the Queen on the live game. As you can see, it's just a bunch of small numbers when I'm actually shooting her directly. A bunch of 6s, 5s, and 3s. That's just because the Gatling plasma shoots 5 projectiles with the beam splitter, so all of those shooting at her rapidly is going to give me a bunch of damage numbers like we're seeing on screen. Let me just take care of all these enemies. Yep, same thing, you can just tell the damage isn't that great. It's just a bunch of low numbers due to the actual projectiles hitting the Queen only and no explosive damage is hitting her. For the explosive damage to actually work, I have to shoot her belly or the ground beneath her belly. You can see I'm getting larger numbers between 20s, 50s, all that sort of stuff. If I go back to shooting her directly, there's no larger numbers, no explosive damage. I have, on the live game, you have to shoot her belly or beneath her belly, the ground beneath her belly to deal explosive damage. And as you can see, that's a lot more damaging. That takes her health down a lot. And just as an extra little bit, let's shoot her while she's flying. As you can see, no explosive damage gets dealt to her. Yeah. So that was the live game. As you could see, like I said, you can only deal the larger explosive damage numbers against the Queen when you aim at the right spot at her belly or the ground underneath her belly. This makes cheesing her with a legacy significantly more difficult. And as you could see in the footage, when you compare it to the PTS footage, I am dealing far less damage because not every shot is actually dealing the explosive damage. And take note, even when she was flying, I was not dealing the explosive damage. So with that shown, let's go on to the PTS and see what's changed. Alright, and here we are on the PTS. Let's start shooting at the Queen while she's in the air. As you can see, we are getting large damage numbers, as well as the smaller damage numbers that we saw before. The explosive damage is also registering. We're getting 39s, 40s, 20s, whatever the damage numbers say there. You can pause it. 25s, as well as those smaller damage numbers. So the projectiles are actually hitting, and they're dealing the projectile impact damage, as well as the explosive damage. As well as when she's on the ground, you can see all these larger damage numbers in amongst the mix of the smaller ones, the explosive damage is actually working properly for once. The explosive radius bug has been fixed on the PTS. This is fantastic for all weapons that utilize explosives, not just legacies. Keep that in mind, guys. Although this video is primarily focusing on the impact this will have on legacies, I want you guys to understand that this is great for all other explosive weapons. So as you can see, I'm shooting as far away as the very tip of her wing here in a second, and I'm still getting that explosive damage on her chest. You can see the explosive damage numbers ranging between 31 and 32, mostly 32, 24, and the damage numbers are just working. It's actually dealing damage for once, and as you can see, it's pretty formidable. Your arch enemy is here just to kill the Deathclaw and the other Scorch that are around me. He's not really helping at all against the Queen. This is all me. You can easily solo a boss now with a Legacy Gatling Plasma very, very easily. It's almost nothing. And there you go. It has been fixed. No matter where I shot the Queen, even if she was flying, I was getting those larger damage numbers to show up in addition to the smaller damage numbers. The smaller damage numbers being the actual projectile, the plasma projectile hitting the Queen, and the larger ones on the center of the Queen's hitbox being all of those explosive damage numbers from the projectiles. So yeah, as you could see right there, I was dealing explosive damage wherever I aimed, whether that be on her wings, her legs, her head, her body, her even still on the ground like normally we're used to, even when she was flying. No matter where I aimed, she was getting explosive damage, making the fight far easier to get through and making it deal a lot more damage. Now, just imagine a whole public server of people with legacy explosive Gatling plasmas. I don't imagine the bosses will be lasting too long. It's going to be a bit of a shit show. Which is why I want to take this moment to remind all of you that this change would not be going ahead, as well as all the other changes to explosives would not be going ahead and happening if Bethesda did not have a plan to deal with legacies. I mean, think about it logically. We've had the energy weapon damage buff, the calculation fix, so energy weapons got buffed. That indirectly buffed legacies. We have this, the explosive radius bug fix, which indirectly buffs legacies, as we've seen in this video. And we have the explosives that can now deal critical damage. That also indirectly buffs legacies. If you use logic for a second, it makes sense that these changes would not be going ahead if they did not have a plan to deal with legacies. So just keep that in the back of your mind while watching the rest of this video. So yeah, I have a very, very strong feeling that legacies will be getting corrected at some point this year, maybe even in the next couple of months. So for those of you that hate legacies, you can start celebrating. For those of you that swear by legacies, for those of you that cannot create a functional build without the crutch of a legacy, and for those of you that wasted your in real life money on legacies like a knob, I say it's time to replay Fallout New Vegas Dead Money and try your hardest to grasp the lesson Father Elijah is trying to teach the courier. Just let go, man. Let go. Legacies are going to eventually be fixed and nothing will change that. I mean, seriously, I'm going to go off script here and just say this. If you thought for a single second that a game-breaking, game-altering glitch like this that allows you to deal so much damage, if you thought something like this would never get patched, ever, then you're a freaking idiot. Let's be real. All bugs get fixed eventually, no matter what they are. Some bugs get fixed in a day, some bugs get fixed in a couple months, and in this case, it looks like it's going to be a 3-year journey. 3 years later, this bug is getting fixed, but regardless, if you ever thought that legacies would remain untouchable forever, you're fucking stupid. Now, with that being said, if you'd like to learn a little bit about how legacies function, then feel free to watch my video on them right here on the top right. It's a bit of a lengthy one, goes for almost 50 minutes, but it's well worth it. You will be fully educated on the topic if you watch that. Aside from that, I do plan on making a future video discussing with you guys if it even should happen. Should legacies get fixed? Should they get removed? Should they stay how they are? Let's talk about it. Actually, let's argue about it. I'm going to be making a video covering all of that, where I'll be talking about them in a more broader sense. So let's look out for that in the future. But yeah guys, that's it for me. I've shown that the explosive radius has been fixed, so all explosive weapons, including those pesky legacies, have been inadvertently buffed. That's going to do it for me. A massive shout out to all my current Patreons and channel members. You're all legends and thank you for your support. If you'd like to support me further, then consider becoming a Patreon or channel member or checking out my merch store. We've got a lot of great designs and benefits, so be sure to check that out in the description, along with my other social medias like Discord and Twitter. Subscribe if you're new, and like the video if you enjoyed. I've been Tia, and I'll catch you in the next one. Welcome to Valhalla.